Hello, I'm Dr. Anna Symonds, Consultant Clinical Psychologist, Director of Elysian Psychology and Clinical Tutor and Senior Lecturer on the Doctorate in Clinical Psychology at the University of Lincoln. The University of Lincoln approached me to ask me to provide you with some support around exams, which you'll be taking at home this year, which of course is a very strange and unfamiliar setup, isn't it? It's not how we normally do things. So if you're struggling or you're feeling very overwhelmed or you're feeling very lost in all of this and trying to adjust to it all and not knowing how this is going to work out, I would just like to give you some tips that might help you. So first of all, I'd like to remind you that you have done lots of exams before. So no matter what stage you're at in your university career, no matter what year or what level you're studying, you've done this before. Come on, maybe not at home, but I want you to have some faith in yourself that you can do exams. You might not like them. Does anybody really like them? But you know what you're doing with exams. You've obviously done very well to get to this stage. So it's about having faith in your ability and just reminding yourself that you can do this. You can do hard things and you can do exams. They may feel very different, but they're still exams and you can do exams, okay? So please remember that. You may be feeling a degree of anxiety because it's different or just connected to exams generally. Again, you've probably got some strategies and some skills from before that you can put into place. But I'd like you to try and work out, if you're feeling anxious, specifically what that is about. So is it I'm worried I'm going to fail, I'm worried I just feel overwhelmed, there's too much to learn, I can't do it. I'd like you to work out the specifics. Now most people, when it comes to exams, and I support lots of clients through GCSEs, A-levels and kind of beyond when they stay with me at university, is that it's a feeling of, well, what if I fail? What ifs are very difficult in terms of thinking, because it's like we're trying to, what we do, it's a thinking error called crystal ball gazing. We're trying to predict the future. So rather than kind of letting your mind go off from A to Z very quickly, I want you to bring it slowly back and say, okay, but I haven't failed yet. I'm here and I'm at this stage in my university career because actually I've got this far. And you may say to me, well, I've got, maybe I've not done so well on other things and there's more pressure on these exams because they mean more, or I need to do well on these because I haven't done so well on other things. Okay, well, this is your chance to shine then. Let's go for it. Use that as a big motivation. On the other hand, if things have gone well for you this year or in previous years and you think, okay, so there's not loads and loads of pressure to have to do, get 90% or something. Maybe that allows you a little bit of slack, but for you to don't try less hard, but just for you to relax a little bit more about it. So get the specifics of what it is you're really anxious about. So let's use, for example's sake, I'm going to fail. I'd like to really challenge that for me and to say, okay, but what are the chances that I'm actually going to fail? So I might be finding it hard, I may be struggling with my mental health or my emotional health, but what are the chances of me really failing it? So 100% definitely not at all. Pick a number anywhere in between. And hopefully your number isn't going to be very realistic chance that you would fail. Giving it a number sort of helps the brain to be a bit more rational. So, stick with that number. Whenever that thought comes into your head and you think, well, I'm going to fail. See it as a negative automatic thought that's simply popping to your head. We have loads of these every day. And just say, okay, but the chances are I'm not going to fail. Or if you're thinking, I need this quality of a certain degree level, you'd have done lots of work leading up to it. It won't all be about this one particular exam you're stressing about, okay? So what are the chances it's going to be, I am going to fail? And then if it makes you feel better, have a plan and think, okay, well, if I did fail, okay, would I get to retake, or what would the process be for me? So that, or if it doesn't mean I'm going to get my 2-1 and a 2-2, or what does that mean for me? Can I still get my job? Is there any negative consequence of me not getting the 2-1 or not getting the grade, the percentage that I would like? So really thinking through the consequences. When we're anxious, they're always going to seem a lot worse than they really are. So knowing that when you're anxious as well, the number that you've just provided in your head to me is going to be greater than it really was. If you arrive in a therapy session together, and you came up with something like, there's an 80% chance I'm going to fail, I would be able to break that down and say, well, really, and challenge it a little bit. So just know that number is always going to be a bit greater in your head, because that's what anxiety makes us do. It makes us magnify things and also catastrophize sometimes as well. So other tips for helping you through this time, you're good at working, you know how to work, okay? Again, you've got this far. It's difficult at home, isn't it, perhaps? There's probably a lot more distractions, especially because you might be with your siblings and your family. So try and have a workspace that's just designated for you. So even if that's, whether it's in your bedroom or a spot at the dining table, but try and make it quiet. I appreciate not all of us have our own home offices and things. I certainly don't. So just making a space that feels like it's yours and feels like it's nice, and hopefully one that you don't have to keep moving your stuff around, so you can get really settled and embedded there. I think it's about making work and revision feel as pleasurable as it can be. Now, just remember, none of us want to sit and work, okay, and revise. I've done 3 degrees. I remember how difficult it feels. I'm with you, okay? I know, I remember it. But you have to hold on to the feeling of how it feels when you have done that work. So if you set yourself a target and you think, right, targets are really important, obviously, and you think, right, I want to meet this today. I want to have, by the end of today, to have met this bit, or by lunchtime to have met this, to have learnt this bit, or written the revision notes, whatever it might be for that bit. How good does it feel when you do that? It feels so good, doesn't it? When you can kind of go, yes, I've done that bit now. And so really don't do the work for the enjoyment, because there might not be much enjoyment in doing the actual revision, but for how you're going to feel when you've done it. So when you sit in the evenings and you can be, back on your phone or watching Netflix or whatever, just kind of going, okay, but I deserve this because I've worked really hard today. So really focusing on the reward at the end of that revision session, but also making your space as nice as it can be in terms of, I remember drinking lots of coffee and things. Don't recommend you do that. Look, tea decaf if you can, be careful with your caffeine levels, but just kind of, having, and I still do that when I work, and I'll have biscuits or whatever, and things just make it nice, and things around me, if you can work with music on or podcasts on, then great. You might not be able to do that depending on the type of learning that you're doing. So just trying to make it as pleasurable a space as it can be for you. Especially if you're struggling to get motivated and to get started, focus on this. Okay, how will I feel when I've done even 10 minutes? And then after you've done 10 minutes, we can play tricks on our brains, can't we? So after 10 minutes, say, okay, just give it another 10, see how I feel. Do another 10, okay, just do another 10. Before you've done half an hour. So the thought of sitting all day probably feels not very pleasant. But if you can kind of think, okay, I'm just going to sit for 10 minutes, so I'm just going to start planning my work for now. So what I'm going to do today is plan my revision. That's part of your revising. So just say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to sit and do loads today or this morning. My plan for today is I'm just going to plan out what I need to do. It doesn't feel quite so awful, does it? But it will get you going. And again, motivation just of kind of think, well, I'll have a cup of tea while I sit and do this or whatever, or I'll have the music on while I do this. So you're tricking your brain into feeling it's not lots of work. It's a bit of a mind trick, but it works. Remember, some people find it helpful to talk to people about what they're doing work-wise. Some people don't. So, maybe mute those WhatsApp groups of people that have you done this subject and that, and all the rest of it. If you kind of think that doesn't help me, I just feel incredibly stressed by that. It's okay. I used to put myself in a bubble around exams and pretend that nobody else was doing them. If you need to do that, just take off the pressure of comparison or what everyone else is doing, then do that. If, on the other hand, you find some solidarity and some reassurance in reaching out to people who are going through a similar thing as you, then make sure you do that. It's really important through exam time that you reach out to people and you still have a bit of a social life as much as we can under the restrictions that we've got. So do your work and then do a Zoom call with somebody, have a proper lunch break, go out for your walk or phone somebody or sit and watch telly for half an hour. You might need to be pretty disciplined on the hours that you work, so boundaries around that will be important. So try and get a structure and a routine, which will obviously help you sleep better, and you get up at a certain time. Then you're not going to feel disappointed if you can't, you're not sitting down at your desk by 9 o'clock. Well, is that realistic? Maybe you need to go for 11, I don't know. If you're in your sort of early to mid 20s, you might find that you prefer to sleep later. Generally sometimes that happens in your age group, and so you might find you're most productive in the afternoon into evening. Well, find out what works for you and just put a structure around it, so you then don't feel guilty when you are sitting watching YouTube for too long or whatever. I say, no, it's okay, because I don't start till 11 or 12 or 1 or whatever it might be, So try and keep that work-life balance by contacting friends as part of maybe a reward as well. Reach out to other people, see how they're doing. They will find that helpful. Please reach out to your tutors. This is what we're here for. So if you're struggling and you need some support and some guidance, reach out. Don't struggle alone. And if you're struggling with your mental health as well, please do get in touch with student support services. If you have pre-existing mental health issues, they may be exacerbated and exaggerated by this. But know that these exams and this situation, whether it's exams at home, studying at home, or COVID generally, is going to pass. Okay, I know we don't know when. And I've got a video on uncertainty on my YouTube channel if you would like to watch that, if you feel that would be helpful. We don't know the end of this, but it will end. So please remind yourself the exams will end. You know, this situation will end, and just think what you want to do afterwards when these exams are done. I know you can't go out and go crazy, but you know, there might be other things that you can kind of look forward to, or just think, I'm going to lie in bed, I don't have to get up and revise, or you know, whatever it might be. Focus on what life looks like past exams for you, and just take every day as it comes. If you're finding things particularly hard, just get through each day or each hour of revision as you go along. But please do reach out to people if you're struggling with your mental health connected to this. I do hope you find that helpful, and like I said, there's other videos on my YouTube channel if you would like to just, you know, you feel like you want a bit of support, just go through and have a look and see what's helpful for you. So good luck with your exams. We can do hard things, we can do exams. Have faith in yourself. You've got this far, you can do this, okay? And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.